Unfortunately, one of our teachers is on maternity leave. She is about to give birth, and so we have relinquished her from her duties to be here today. She has zoomed in. Alright guys, so I know we're here today to discuss the book All My Rage, and we have a couple of parents that have brought up some concerns. Now, one of the parents is pregnant and could not be here today because she's going into labor, and so she is FaceTimed in to discuss her concerns with the teachers. Yes, so I will put somewhere right over here.
Perfect. I guess I'll start off. So my child came to me a couple days ago when I guess they were a little halfway through the book at this point, and they were talking to me about one of the main characters is selling drugs. Now, you know, my child, sophomore in high school, I really don't think that is the kind of behavior we should be promoting to these young minds. And of course, I had a discussion with them, you know, this is not acceptable, this is not something that I feel should be read in schools because it is giving them the wrong idea of how to approach things in life. You know, I understand the situation, you know, apparently the main characters have some hard times, whatever, but they could have gone out and gotten a job. Like, it's really not that hard. So I want to understand why we are pushing this onto our children to make them think it's okay that you can sell drugs if times are hard.
So we're not trying to promote drug use and the idea that it's okay, but the reason we're teaching this book is to show real life situations, and that kids that are put into certain situations are more likely to go this route, and just to show this is real life stuff.
Are there any like statistics to follow that? Because I'm still of the opinion, like, apply to a job, work at the gas station down the street, work at the McDonald's down the street. Why is the first resort drugs?
There's no statistic for kids selling drugs.
But I also want to be like, oh well, unfortunately it is a reality, like, and just be like, yeah, it's a stereotype, like, whatever we live.
Because I don't think it is. Like, we live in the suburbs. Most of these kids are not out here selling drugs like my child. My child is not selling drugs. So how is this something that's happening frequently in our community?
Well, ma'am, how do you know that other kids in these suburbs aren't selling drugs?
I know.
Would you show me those statistics?
I know these kids.
We don't have any statistics to prove that kids sell drugs, just as you don't have any to prove that they don't.
This
is a book taught to sophomores in high school to give them examples of real life, real world experiences, to show them empathy.
Right, but this isn't their real world, okay? They're not the ones going out and doing this. They don't own motels.
But could they
They're
still
not
learn from
selling
it?
drugs. Please don't interrupt me.
Ma'am,
Concerns are being
Ma'am.
addressed here.
ma'am, we both need to calm down. And I apologize for interrupting you,
Thank you.
but I feel that you need to realize that things go under everybody's nose. And these kids need to understand that while this does happen, not necessarily here, not necessarily in your suburb, there are things you can do, places you can go, adults you can talk to. And this book, with the help of our teachers, gives them that space to critical think and to think through these times.
I understand what you're saying. However, I do wish I was notified beforehand, before my child was given this book. If it were up to me, I'm the parent, I feel like I'm able to make these decisions for my child, who is not yet an adult. I would not have had my child read this book. And I'm incredibly disappointed and incredibly frustrated that I was not contacted by administration, by my child's teacher, about the content of this book. This could very well be traumatizing to my child, and it could leave a lasting imprint on them and making them think that this is an okay route to go down.
Well, I understand where you're coming from. I think books like this are important for children to be exposed to, especially because they're sophomores. They are not in middle school. They are becoming young adults, and pretty soon they'll be in college and exposed to other people outside of their bubble that might have come from backgrounds like in this book. And it's important for them to understand and be able to know that not everyone has the same experiences as them.
Right, but they aren't in college. They are sophomores in high school. They are still children. And my question still stands, why wasn't I notified before my child was given this book to read?
I completely understand your concerns, and moving forward in the future, we can work to find compromises, maybe send out letters beforehand of what will be on the syllabus for the readings of the year.
I think that is more than adequate. I would very much appreciate that. Summer, I didn't know if you had any problems with this book.
So my son Jimmy came to me a few days ago after his class, and we both got kind of emotional. His son, my husband, just recently got out of rehab, and the topic of the alcohol use and substance abuse kind of got him triggered, and he had to leave the classroom. I just don't think that this book is appropriate.
I'm really sorry to hear that about your husband, Summer. My condolences, and just know that I am here as a support system for your son, and I know that you are probably taking the necessary steps to get him help as well, but he did leave class and was able to talk to a counselor, and he was able to return and complete the activity that we had with the book. And I think my hope for the book, with Jimmy in particular, is that he is able to kind of work through all those emotions that he's feeling in a proper way and learn something and get something out of it.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thoughts about being reached out to before this book was addressed in the classroom, just because if the teacher was aware of the parts that contained that, maybe it would have not ended up the way it was. He's just very upset and doesn't even want to continue reading the book.
Well, he doesn't have to. We can definitely make arrangements for an alternate reading for him. And I completely agree. We do send out reading lists, but it's not up to the parents to do their own research on the book, so it should be in the description under each title of what the book entails.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry again.
You know, as the school board administrator, I will ensure that all teachers next year send out their reading lists with apt descriptions about what the book is truly about.
Thank you. I'm sure we both appreciate that very much. I did have one last point. From a parent's perspective now, I don't know if you have kids, but
I do.
You do?
4.
Oh, wow. God bless you.
Thank you.
Fucking hell.
And they've all read it. And they've enjoyed it.
They're all read it?
They've all read it.
Oh, they've all read it?
They've all read the book.
Well, I'm happy for them, but from a parent's perspective, this book was just so incredibly violent. There are talks of child abuse, spousal abuse, sexual abuse. Like I said, I really don't think these topics should be taught in a classroom.
Going back to what you said before, in your first point, I know you had a conversation with your child about how it's not right as well. I wanted you to know that we go through the same things every day. We complete the reading, and beforehand there are like things that we tell them that this is not normal. This is not the life that you should want. Like there are like aspects of desirability in the book, but this is not one of them. And
We make sure to make that clear to our students.
Right,
And those talks of violence and the abuse that the characters face in this book do not have to connect with every single student in the room. But there are signs that kids have that they show when they're being abused, and adults as well. And these kids are getting just a small little look into the life of what it's like for these kids and their friends and their family. And if they see these things, they know that they can come to us. They can come and we can, talk about it with CPS. We can talk about it through parents, through other channels, and we can get these kids the help that they need at home.
right, but they don't need to be exposed to this. They are children. I just don't understand why you'd want to teach something like this to children in a classroom. What are they learning from it? They're not going to take anything away from this book to actually be useful in their lives.
We are not teaching them about abuse. We are informing them that abuse is a real thing that happens to real people, and that there are signs that are shown. There are signs that are shown, and there's empathy that one should have. There are characters in that book who do not show empathy, and there are characters in that book that do. And we inform them of the situation, and then we help them use their critical thinking skills to discuss both sides, and for them to determine how to handle a situation like that, how they themselves could come to a trusted adult to help them handle that.
I think what I want to know is from the teachers, what is the reason for teaching this book? Because frankly, I don't see it. All I see are same children selling drugs, being violent towards each other, and them experiencing violence. My child does not go through that. This book is traumatizing for my child. So that's my question to the teachers. Why are we teaching this book in a classroom?
I'm teaching this book because not only does it show all of the real life and upsetting realities that come with abuse and the references to drugs, also it's relatable to these kids in ways of
I know my children aren't selling drugs. My children aren't being abused. So how is this relatable to them?
it's relatable because these kids are the same age as the ones in the book. It's relatable because not only are they suffering these everyday things, they are working, they're discovering themselves, they're getting ready for college, they're just trying to pass English class, but also some of these kids, which your kid is not, but you don't know what the kid sitting next to you as an English class is doing. They could be going home and getting abused. They could be having and relating to this book in ways that you don't know. And it's important for all kids to know the real life events that happen.
I do suppose that makes sense. I just wish, are there any just alternatives that we could teach instead of this book? I still think this book is just too much for the grade level that my child is at.
I think it can definitely be explored, because as of right now, I think this is a great example of what should be, but it can definitely be touched on and figured out.
And if my child
looked into.
doesn't want to continue reading the rest of the book, will they still be expected to complete all the assignments along with the reading of this book?
There will be modifications, and we'll provide another reading that will be adjacent to the work that we have prepared.
That sounds amenable to me. I don't know about you, Summer.
I definitely agree with the grade level thing. I feel like I do understand that there are kids that go through it and kids that see it, but there should be something else rather than them reading about something descriptive like that and something like that happening to somebody in a book.
I agree, yeah.
Okay. I feel like we've come to a great compromise. Next year, there will be changes made.
Thank you.
And as for right now, in this semester, your boys will both be given alternative assignments and alternative readings to complete.
Thank you.
Thank you.
However, I do recommend that in the future, if you have any concerns, you just send me a quick email, and if it can be discussed, lightly, because I know this book was a really heavy topic. But if you have any more concerns, you can come to me and we'll talk about it.
Thank you, I appreciate that very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're pregnant.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
It's not supposed to snow until fucking 9 p.m.
Summer, get your ass here.
You're a parent though, right? You're supposed to.
No, I thought, yeah, I'm a parent.
Us with
Wait,
the problem.
what?
You're the.
I thought you two were the parents.
My bad, Chad. Selling drugs. You can do substance and alcohol abuse.
Do you want to be bitch out Kurt, or
Okay.
do you have more confidence?
And she's pregnant.
Right.
And she's
pregnant.
pregnant.
Yeah.
I feel like you should be. You're the board director. You should be the one.
To discuss all
We're
my
starting.
It's gonna be rough.
What did I even say? I blacked out.
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know. I just don't understand. My kids are not druggies.
What?
His dad recently just got out of rehab and
She had dumps like a trap. What? All night long. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. Apple bottom jeans. Boots with the fur. The hook. Okay, we're ready.
Are we?
Did
Was good, eh?
what the fuck?
Fight the power. Period.
Oh, thank Christ.